Welcome, everyone.
You caught us dancing. Greg's driving today because I'm not really well connected, as we figured out in the chat.
She's
good morning.
Welcome
to the Saturday morning. Yes, I am. Good morning and welcome to the Saturday LiveCast. And if I disappear, I'll be right back. It's a fabulous, beautiful day, but people tell me it's snowing west of me. So I got a fire going in the fireplace, so I'm good. It's a weird morning. You know why? Because
why is it a
Betsy's
weird morning?
Here to go first.
Well, I don't have to go first. If you would like to do,
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
But I was typing that question that we were talking about and hoping to get a reply before I go.
Oh, I can go first. I just think Betsy needs to get out of here because she has to go mold young minds.
So the important thing is I'm going last.
Young minds are like clay. Yeah, she's not going last today. So I can start this off. Greg, can you pull up the question of the week on your computer, please?
Oh, I can. Yes, I should have known that's exactly what you meant about driving. And just hold on a sec.
If you want to know while Greg's doing that, when one person says you're driving, that means that they're doing the technical end of some of the stuff in the background that you don't normally see. So he's driving this morning.
I'm driving, yes. Well, I was prepared to start the thing and turn on the music and the videos and stuff, but I hadn't queued up your question of the week. It occurred to me at one point, and then I lost that occurrence and forgot. Okay, so here I am on the homepage. Where's what's the quickest way?
Down to the bottom.
Bottom
on the right.
Bottom on the right.
There you go.
Adoptions. There we go.
There you go.
If you're ever wondering how to find the question of the week, go to the homepage and then bottom on the right.
There you go. I also want to pull up this profile. I'll put it over here in the private chat.
Okay.
And then I have a couple more profiles that I'd like to pull up. Let me get you back. There you go. It's also hard to do the driving when you're just on a laptop.
Yes, so you only have one screen. And you're used to having 3 or even 2.
Yo, gosh, yes.
I've only ever done this on a laptop. I am just prepared someday for my mind to be blown.
Oh,
multiple screens.
Once you go,
do you know what I did?
Monitor, you'll never go back.
I got an extra monitor for my laptop, but I didn't bring it. I thought about bringing it, and then I didn't. But that makes a huge difference. And I have one of those hospital bed tables where you can slide it under the bed if you're sick. But I use it in the living room because I can slide it under the sofa and get the laptop really close to me. And I have a board across the back of it with woodworkers clamps holding the board, and then I've clamped the extra monitor to the board, so it looks like the Beverly Hillbillies, but it works.
But it works.
Speaking of Appalachia, hey, I have we had some great answers today in the question of the week, and I want to know, Betsy, do you have any adoptions in your family?
No, we do not, which is surprising.
None.
Zero. That I'm aware of.
Nada. Well, it's an interesting thing to have adoptees in your family. It's an interesting thing. It's also could be a hard thing for a family. And there's also all sorts of stories that could go along with the adoptions, bad stories, good stories. One of the stories this morning that we saw in the question of the week was, this woman, we'll talk about in a minute, went to board with a woman, and the woman ended up adopting her. That's such a good story.
That's nice.
Those are very good stories. Yeah. Greg, do you have any adoptions?
Do I have any adoptions? I certainly do. Well, I myself am adopted, and I've always known that I was adopted, and was adopted into a very warm, loving family, and accepted by all my cousins and aunts and uncles. And interestingly, so when I did my first DNA test, the very first person who contacted me was a first cousin of mine. She sent me an email and said, I see we're a match. I wonder if we can figure out how we're related. And then I replied back, well, I'm adopted, so I have no idea. I have no data to give you. And then her reply to me was, oh, well, I'm adopted too. So it's like the blind leading the blind. Yeah. So that was kind of funny. And then
so she's connected. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she is connected. She is connected, and we figured out exactly how that all happened. And then when I connected with my birth family, and I've told this story before, and met my full brother and full sister on Family Day in 2018. We got together, and we have stayed connected, and they've been just absorbed into the larger Clark family. Because neither of my biological siblings have children of their own. So my family is the continuation of the family. And then I think I shared a Thanksgiving picture at sunset of our Thanksgiving last year, where I was invited.
Yes.
I think you did that by AI. I don't think that's a real picture.
It looks, it's amazing how good that looks. But in that picture, I didn't actually pull it up now because I want to give you more time. But basically in that picture, along with my wife and I, there's my full brother, full sister, a half sister that we share through my dad's side of the family, and then another half sister, my half sister's other half sister. Like she found a new half sister who herself had been adopted. So it's wild, but we're all one big family, and my adoptive and my biological siblings all get along. And when they get together, it's one big party there. So
yeah, it is. But and I want to say that Betsy is this as well. All the people that I've worked with for years, for almost 10 years now, or 11 years, all the people at WikiTree are kind of like a taking people in, they're adopting people. So I feel very adopted by Greg. I also feel very adopted by Betsy. So I'm not adopted, but if you think of it that way, I am. I do want to say, I want to share, if you could go to that profile I posted.
There's Agnes.
This is my connection to any adoptee, except I found an adoptee when we were at Roots Tech, but I haven't been able to reach out to him. So I don't want to tell his story without having permission. But Agnes Curran was a home child from Britain, which means that her family gave her up for adoption and went into one of several homes. And this particular home she went into was a Bernardo home. When I talked to that side of the family, so it is my spouse's grandfather's brother, William, who married Agnes, who is the girl in the picture on the left there. And the other fella is her brother. So everybody in the family knew she had a brother, but nobody in the family knew his story and didn't know what happened to him. The story was the story that everybody tells about immigration is that the ship made port and he jumped ship. How many times have we heard that in stories of people immigrating? So the story was he jumped ship and nobody ever heard from him again. Well, I started doing the research on him and found that he actually lived with his sister Agnes and her husband for a time. So there is a connection to him. He wasn't lost. He was always a part of the family. But this is an interesting adoption story. This is a really not great story about children that are kind of forced into being indentured servants with families because the British system wanted to clear their books, as it were, and get those children moved out and get them into a different situation, which sometimes turned out really great, like in the case of Agnes, and sometimes it didn't turn out so great in the terms of her brother. I don't know his full story. I don't know where he is now. I don't know if he had a family, but there was something going on with that. And so sometimes that's good. Look at how gorgeous she is. The picture of she and her husband. And gorgeous. And also the Currans with their walrus mustaches. They all had pretty crazy good beards. So that's Agnes. And I've done a lot of research on her and done a lot of work. And I've added the home children profile. And that is a really interesting story of adoption. So on to back to the question of the week. So that's my connection to adoption.
Nice.
Other than I've adopted Betsy and Greg, but you know. So there were lots of great questions. If you would scroll down to Lula Barrick in one of those, she has a link in the question of the week to her profile.
Okay.
It's down. We had how many questions? How many answers do we have to this? 67 answers.
Wow.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people who said, yes, I'm adopted. And I think it's they've shared their story. So if you want to read some of the ones that are in that information for theirs. So Lula Bell, let me get back to you, Don. Lula Bell, she has a great biography, really good biography there. She was in Kansas City. She was the daughter of Hiram Barrick and Cora Chance. And you notice there's quite a few sources here indicating that she was. And I love the WikiTree browser that I can just hover over these and see the information here from some of these records. Taylor Lula Bell funeral notes. So Lula was boarded. Yeah, this is the person that we were talking about earlier, that this was a really good story, that she was sent away to be boarded with Susan F. Kirby. She doesn't really go into, A. Murphy doesn't really go into the backstory of why she may have been boarded out, but in the time that she lived, it might have been hard for her family to support numerous children. She's got 1, 2, 3, and maybe the 4th child was just too many mouths to feed. So they boarded her out. It was less expensive to board her somewhere. Like with the home children, it was much less expensive to send them over here and find them families in Canada or in the US or Australia. And so she lived with this Susan F. Kirby in Bourbon County, Kansas. And this was 1900. So she formally adopted her on February the 18th, 1901. So within a year of her coming to live with her, Lula's sister, Stella and Barrick, lived with Lula's adoptive mother, who had married again near Inglevale, Lincoln Township, Crawford, Kansas. And then Lula went on to marry Archibald the 20th of October, 1909, in Wichita. So she was fairly progressed in age before she went to live with Kirby. If she was adopted in 1901 and then married in 1909, you would think she would have to have been, in her teens at some point.
Yeah.
So she was an older adoption, which, and who knows what the home life may have been. It may have been a rancorous situation. Who knows? They lived in Kirkwood, St. Louis, Missouri. They lived in Arkansas and Little Rock. And then she went on to live at some point in Santa Clara, California, because that is where she passed away at the age of 96. 96. That's a bright age.
That's very nice.
And she's also got some research notes for the California Death Index. They've got a different birth date than what A. Murphy had. Great sources. And the Find a Grave over in the See Also section. I like to see that because Find a Grave is not really a source. Even with a tombstone.
At the bottom there.
Yeah, it's way down at the bottom. Did I move? Oh, thank you. I'm sitting here thinking I'm driving and I'm not.
It's not scrolling the way you want. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm writing, like the information at the very top, the third notch there for the source says that Taylor Lula Bell was funeral services. I would have slipped that down to she died, she passed away, and that is there. So she doubled up on that source. But then I would have put the Find a Grave template with the squiggly line. You say find a grave with caps for all 3 words with a pipe, and just the Find a Grave memorial number, and it creates a little bit of verbiage. And then after that, I put a comma and I paste in the burial information that comes with the Find a Grave. I don't normally paste a Find a Grave that doesn't have burial information, if it's a non-burial, if it's just a memorial, I may paste that memorial up there if the memorial page has sources and information on it that might be helpful to other researchers. And I rarely ever put that in the actual sources section. So that's a really nice profile with lots of great information to share. And it shows a lot of good ways of working with an adoptee's information. It's respectful. She doesn't go into a lot of the details about why she was adopted. And there may be family lore about, what went on. For my grandmother, who wasn't adopted, I spilled all the beans. I put it all out there, so, but I know for a fact that she would appreciate it because she fought her whole life to prove who she was. And so I put her story out there big time. So go through, read these questions of the week, check it out, see if you can figure out where your adoption story might be in your family. You might have some pretty cool adoption stories as well. And I hope that I can tell you the adoption story in the Templeton family that I learned while I was at Roots Tech. I hope that I can do that soon. I hope that he reaches back out to me and that we can continue the conversation. What I think is that my emails are probably ending up in his junk folder, because I am Appalachian trash county, junk. But he is too. So, let's do that. I'm going to pass over to Madame Betsy Coe and let her have at it.
All right. Thank you, Mags. And I don't think we've said it. We've said Appalachia about 3 times now.
Appalachia.
Biscuits.
Appalachia. Biscuits.
Yep. Biscuits.
And I was even showing my Appalachia earlier before anybody even came in.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
Yeah, they were talking about snow in the area, and I said, "Hush your mouth," which is a very Appalachian thing to say. Thankfully, nobody was offended, and people took up for me. That's Mags. That's just Mags. She's Appalachian,
Yeah, that's right.
So let's see.
Look at that.
We have. Is Anne Fiordalisi in the chat?
Ooh.
Have we seen her?
I was too busy driving to read all the people in the chat.
Well,
I can hope I can drive the chat.
Well, Anne, if you're here, thank you for sharing this lovely photo. So April's photo theme is couples, and so they just look deeply in love. This is Billy and B. Moss, and still in love after 50 years plus of marriage and 5 children, living in Kankakee, Illinois. Thanks to her.
I don't
cousin
see Anne here, Betsy.
She's not. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to tell her to watch. She probably didn't think that it would happen until much later in the LiveCast. Okay. Well, it'll be there for her on the replay. So thank you, Anne. And then this next photo, I am going to go a little. Actually, on this one, let me go to regular size. Okay. So this was contributed by M. Ross. And we have James Amaziah McClellan and Anne McClellan. And these are family members on her husband's side of the family. They were married June 11th, 1879 in okay, you guys are going to help me. Caledon Township, Ontario?
Caledon.
Okay.
Caledon, yeah.
They were married in Caledon, but by 1906, they had made the move to farm in Saskatchewan. And then James died in 1925 and died in 1941. And they were buried in Vancouver. And they were first cousins once removed. So I take it her maiden name really was McClellan. But really a striking photo for the time. So clear and crisp. And
nice, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Em. And then the third one that came through was on the free space page. Don't forget about that free space page. This is from Christine Miller.
Cute.
I know, right? These
Aw,
are mom and
That's
dad
adorable.
then and now.
that's so sweet.
Both pictures are just beautiful. They were married in
It looks like they like each other. That's an important thing in a marriage.
Yeah. So I love the smiles.
Very nice.
So thank you so much, Christine. And we have one more Saturday in April. So I know there are more couples photos out there in your photo albums. Please post them so we can enjoy them. So then now I'm going to move to our tip of the week. And I'm going to hang on. I'm going to go back to normal size. And I'm also going to put in the chat the link to this G2G post that I am showing right now, so that you can have a look too. So this is something, some changes that went live on April 1st. And we've already talked a few weeks ago about how you probably have noticed now that the search output looks different. We have a table now, but it's got very nice functionality with some extra ways to search, and you can actually double filter. I would say that's a win in so many ways. So today I thought that I would talk about the changes to invitations to living family members. So we no longer have to ask people if we can invite them. There was a period where it was sort of a very sort of circular process. Just invite them. So you would go ahead, your cousin, go ahead and create a profile for them. And as you may have noticed, towards the end of the important data fields, there is a field for email address. So go ahead and add that in. Please do not, here's if you listen to nothing else during the tip, this is important. Don't create a living profile without inviting them. Okay, so we do value people's privacy very, very highly. We want to give them, it's their information. So whether or not they want to be on WikiTree is really up to them. So it's only fair that we offer them a chance to accept or decline. So what will happen then? Let me go to, this is the help page on invitations. And again, these are not long reads. There it is in the chat. Go ahead and have a look at that. So when you put their email address in, they're automatic, because they're your family member, they're automatically going to, be able to be a family member, and they will get an email that will say something like this. Say it's me. That I'm inviting my cousin. Betsy Co invites you to view and share family history on WikiTree. And then I can put in a few sentences to customize it. Talks about WikiTree, has a link to the video on YouTube about what WikiTree is all about. Then there'll be a link. Click here to create a password for private access to what Betsy Co has added. Talks about our privacy, how we value it. And it says, if you do, if you do not create a password within 30 days, then what is going to happen is that their account is going to become anonymous. It's going to be an anonymous placeholder, and which will look something like this. And all it would be anonymous or living so-and-so surname, and it will preserve that in the family relationship within your tree. Greg, in answer to your question, we were wondering before we went on, well, if someone declines, are you no longer then profile manager as the person who created the profile? And we think the answer is yes, you are still the profile manager. That it will still show up in your watch list, but you should not make any changes. And in fact, if the person declines, then there's going to be a template on their profile that says this person has respectfully declined. So let me go back here. They can delete the invitation, but in that case, all data will be thoroughly removed from WikiTree. But that opens up the possibility that maybe my other cousin, who's a genealogist, will add them, invite them again. So the advantage of having an anonymous placeholder profile is that you can just stop there and you won't be bothered any further.
And if they actually decide later on to join WikiTree and they don't know about the invitation anymore, they can't find the invitation, will they be able to find themselves to be able to claim the profile that was created for them?
I would say, chances are they would know the person who originally created them. The family WikiTree.
I'm saying if they don't have it, if they don't have it, if this was a distant cousin, if they don't have the invite anymore, will they be able to connect with their original profile? That's a question that I have about this. And I'm sorry I didn't mean to give you something you can't answer. But yeah, I think we will find that answer out for next time.
Right. Because that is
you
interesting.
would think somebody put in their name exactly as they had and their email that the system already has, that the system would recognize them.
Right. Hopefully. So. My understanding of this new process is that if a person declines initially, information such as their birth date and their birthplace is wiped. So the system would not have that to match up to profiles or a potential profile and an existing profile. But yeah, the other thing that's possible is that the relationship within the family is preserved. And therefore, the way our system works, we only have one biological father. So if someone's saying that they're a biological father, then the system should catch that, I guess.
Yeah, Victor's asking, what if they use it in email? Yeah, I would think that if they put in the name, the system would recognize, but I don't know.
But it depends on how common or unique the name is, right? Yeah.
So here's another comment from Hillary regarding
about the email there. The question that Victor has. Once you've logged in, you can edit your own email address. So it's not like some systems where your initial login or is carved in stone. You can change your email address. You do have to log in at one point with that, but then you can change it to a preferred one if you want to change providers.
Yeah. And I'll go back to Hillary's comment there. The team usually has to merge the profiles if you have a duplicate. So it would be something you would send to info@WikiTree.
Right.
And then I'm also just putting in the chat, there's a separate help page for anonymous placeholders. So that's the other place where you would want to have a look if you're wondering about this. And I'm on the page now. So as it says, what's on a placeholder? Essentially just a last name and one or more family relationships. So that allows people to see, Mary Smith already, her father's already on WikiTree. So I hope that was helpful and not confusing. I feel like it's really not confusing, but it's hard to really experience until you've walked through examples.
Well, Is there a G2G post that we could send people to if they want to discuss this further?
Yes, the one that I put up initially. Did you see
Let me go
the?
back and do that.
Here, I'll post it again. And yeah, this is the place to comment with questions, concerns. So there it is again.
Yep.
Thanks, Megs.
So if you have some questions, you go over there and check it out. Oh,
Yep.
you posted it again. Oh, good.
Yeah. Well,
do you go ahead?
No.
We have a question. When you're done, there's a question for you in the chat.
Yeah. What is it
about this though?
Well, I'm about to go into
see.
ancestors, celebrate your ancestors, but yeah.
Okay, just real quick, and this is an easy one to answer here. Question: I have Iberian baptism records that go beyond the 1600s from Family Search, but WikiTree does not allow me to add those members past a certain era. That means you need to have the pre-1700 certification.
Yes.
Can you post a link for that for us real quick? Yes, Asher's in the background working as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would be pre-1700s for something in the 1600s, and then
but if it goes even before that, could possibly be.
Yeah, it could be 1500. So you just need to have a certification, and it's a self-certification test. I actually was talking to one of the DNA project team members this past week that they needed to get it, and I just said it's really it's a self-test, and it's easy. You just have to show that you have a knowledge of being able to work those earlier questions. So
it's not a 10-week course.
No,
it's not at all. It's not if you don't have to go back to college.
But it's just that it gets a little trickier when you're working that far back. So it's a good question. Okay, and Azure's on it. Thanks, Az.
Yep. Azure is working on getting that up.
Yeah.
I would be grabbing it, but I only have one computer and I only have one screen and I'm jiggly. There we go.
There it is.
Jiggly. Right. I'm jiggly.
Well, we have one ancestor to celebrate today from Alexis Nelson. And this is her first cousin once removed, Helen Bellis. And she said that she has this, we'll look at the profile too, but this is a 1925 newspaper clipping from her paternal grandmother's scrapbook. And it's a wedding announcement. Helen had an April birthday, April 17th. So it was just this past week. Happy birthday, Helen. And she also passed away in April in 1985. Helen and her husband loved to travel and visit relatives. They often came to stay at my grandmother's house. It was a rooming house, so we did not lack company. The thing that I clearly remember is how much my grandmother looked forward to and enjoyed their visits. So it's really, really lovely profile. Let me go over there now. So there is Helen. Also my 17th cousin. Nice. And yeah, I love this wallpaper. So delicate. So she was born in Pennsylvania, but the family made their way to West Virginia in 1917. Her father was a prominent coal operator and banker. And then she married, as she went to college at Goucher College, taught at the local high school, and then married Leland Mason Brooks, who was a well-known lumberman of Alarka, North Carolina. So there's some, I have to show, here's the original clipping of her wedding announcement. This was my favorite of all the photos. Look at those bows.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
That's great.
I wonder what they were looking at.
I have a picture of grandmas.
I mean, they just look like they must have taken so long.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
yeah. And there she is, Helen and Mason on their 40th anniversary. And this is also there. She was the oldest child. So there was a period where she was an only child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there she is, more bows with her sister.
Very nice.
So Alexis, thank you so much. And as with our photos of the week, we have we have one more week in April. So please send us some ancestors to celebrate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Are we ready for? Okay. Let me just get things all set up here now. Okay. So thank you for that, Betsy. Now we're on to the profiles of the week. And the question for this week was, which foodie are you most closely connected to? Yes. So if you weren't hungry before, you might be hungry by the time we get through all these profiles, because we're going to be talking about lots of food. And I don't have any snacks here. Megs, do you have any snacks left over from the Connect-a-thons?
I have tons of snacks here, but they're all too healthy. And Betsy, what's your mug today?
Oh, it's grouchy Donald Duck. But on my side, it's Happy Donald Duck.
Oh,
happy,
because I get the coffee.
You get the coffee. You get your moose?
It's a moose, a Christmas moose mug. Oh, isn't that fun?
That's great. That's great. Well, I don't have my TARDIS of coffee. I'm just drinking out of a water bottle, because I've had coffee for the last 3 or 4 mornings, and surprisingly, I'm not sleeping as well through the night because I'm a little jittery. So I thought maybe I should take a day off.
Or decaf coffee. I like the flavor of coffee. I'm horrible.
Me too.
I don't.
But this is caffeinated. Can you tell?
No, not at all. Anyways, foodies. So, and the reason we did foodies is because we just finished the WikiTree challenge this week with Melly Alexander, and the big reveal was done, and reveal happened, and she loved it. It got posted on YouTube. So if you haven't had a chance to go watch the YouTube reveal and how excited she was super excited about not only seeing all her connections and the CC7 connections, but how they got populated on a map. That was really intriguing for her. She also liked
Greg,
yes.
Do you know who this time is? Do you know
who
the next challenge is?
I do. I'm in the middle of helping. Yes.
Are you going to be in the talk at 12? Is it at 12?
That's the plan.
Leanne Kruger.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Leanne Kruger, a great WikiTreeer. Also works on a couple other projects with Mags and I. Super person, and Canadian too.
Yep.
But anyways, the past WikiTree challenge is just finished. Melly Alexander, the DNA chef. So if you're interested about finding more about her, if Az hasn't already beaten me to it, there's the link of the G2G post for Melly. And then Az may add the link to the review. Oh, there she did. I knew she was going to. So it was great. And we found lots of interesting ancestors, lots of interesting stories for Melly. We got to meet her face to face last year at Roots Tech, so that was exciting. She's a lovely person, so that was very neat. So as with all of the challenges this year, they also take the theme, and 2 of those profiles they match head to head, and one of the challenges of the week that they invite people to do is to see which one are you closer to. And so the 2 famous ones that they do the connection combat with is Emerald Lagasse or Nigella Lawson. Now, despite the fact that I really love food, and you can only see the top part of me, but if you saw the bottom part, it sort of bulges out a little bit. on
Are you a
video. And
pear?
so
Are you a
I'm not
pear?
quite a pear, but I carry some more pounds than I should,
Yep.
because I like I like food, and I've always liked food. But surprisingly, I don't know many of these people. I guess I just don't follow the right celebrity chefs. I just have good cooking locally, so I don't need to go out and find it and watch for
Is
it.
there a right celebrity chef or a wrong? I didn't know that.
I don't know.
There's
Well,
wrong celebrity chefs.
I have no idea.
It's whomever your taste buds
Whoever your
endorse.
taste was. I mean, growing up, my mom often had TV on in the background, and the one that she liked to listen to because she thought he was funny and kind of ridiculous, so she'd sometimes make fun of him, was a chef called the Galloping Gourmet.
Oh, I
Yes.
remember that name.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was just a Canadian thing like Mr. Dressup, or if that was a, more broadly known.
Well, it's sort of catchy, a catchy.
It's a certainly catchy
Yeah,
name, the Galloping Gourmet. Yes.
And then, of course, there's Julia Childs.
Yes. Oh, we saw that movie. There was a
Julia and Julia.
Julia and
Yeah.
Julia. That was an interesting movie.
It was.
There's a Netflix documentary on her now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Quite
good.
neat. So the two, I didn't put together a spreadsheet this week. So we're going to do something slightly different though. So here's the first one, Emerald Lagasse. But what I can do is I can put them side by each, I think. So let's make him half. I want to make him half the page.
I think probably I should take, so I don't interrupt the flow.
Oh, yes.
Off now.
Are you? Oh, you have to take off?
Yeah, because I have to get to school early today. So
Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna miss you.
yeah, I'll catch you on the replay. Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Happy
then.
Saturday.
Bye, Betsy.
See ya. Okay, so there's our two. So I don't have a spreadsheet, but we can still ask the people in the chat, which one of these are you most closely related to? So you can see that I am actually 7th cousin. Look how close that is to Emerald.
Don't ask me if I am. I'm scared to bring up anything else on my
computer. Oh yeah, okay then I won't. But we're connected through an Acadian ancestor, and actually there's a bunch of and many more Quebecois and French Canadian and Acadian. So that's our connection. I'm not a cousin to Nigella at all. She's from Britain. She's English. Finnegan wanted to check.
Finnegan heard food.
Finny, on the topic of food, he's like, oh, maybe there's more food in the kitchen. Someone just got home.
Aha.
Yeah. So 7th cousin, that's one of the closest ones I've had in the profile section. I'm usually not quite this close, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, he was born in the 50s. Both of these are rock stars, are still alive. Son of Emerald John Lagasse and Hilda Medeiros. So his father was French Canadian from Quebec, and eventually go back for enough Acadian. And his mother, Medeiros, was from Portugal, and Hilda Medeiros. And so he grew up very Catholic, he says, which is funny. He worked in a Portuguese bakery as a teenager, where he discovered his talent for cooking, and then he enrolled in a culinary arts school. He also was a musician. He was a percussionist, and that earned him a scholarship to the New England Conservatory of Music, which would have been an interesting diversion, but he chose to follow the dream of becoming a chef, and so he did. So he attended Johnson and Wales University in 1978, and which is cool is that same university gave him an honorary doctorate years later. I think that's neat when they recognize their own. In 1982, so he became an executive chef at various places, and then nominated Chef of the Year in 83. In 82, he succeeded Paul Prudhomme, who was an executive chef of the Commander's Palace in New Orleans. So he's a very well-known chef, Paul Prudhomme. He led the kitchen for 7.5 years, and then he opened his own restaurant. So he's got a place in New Orleans, and most of his stuff is around the New Orleans area in Louisiana. A place called Emerald's, and designated Restaurant of the Year, Esquire magazine, Wine Spectator Grand Award, so award-winning contributed several recipes to the International Space Station. Isn't that neat? I thought that was kind of cool. Because taste gets a little boring out there. And apparently the microgravity tends to deaden the flavors in space. Who knew? So anyways, he has a company in New Orleans. They have 5 different restaurants. And then at the end, it talks about his marriages and whatnot. So interesting guy. And going head to head with Emerald is Nigella Lawson, who is an English food writer and television cook, a book reviewer, restaurant critic. Her shows are Nigella Express and Simply Nigella. She also appeared as a judge on TV shows such as The Iron Chef and The Taste. She met her first husband while they were both working for the Sunday Times. Unfortunately, her first husband died in 2001 at the young age of 47 from cancer, so that's sad. And then we have some research notes here from a prominent and prosperous Jewish family, also known as a television chef and journalist. And there's lots of Wikipedia pages to her. And she was also a Who Do You Think You Are? A guest on that show as well. And a link to that as well. So what's the chat saying? Have they
lots of people saying that they're related to both. It looks like more are related to Lagos, just based on my view of it and based on what I see the answers are. So I think Emerald is the closest.
Okay.
Hillary, are you tabulating? If you are, that would be great. She says Emerald is the closest. But we don't know if it's for her or for the whole
For her
crowd.
or for everyone, yes. Yeah, that's right. So Victor, is he correcting my pronunciation? I would normally say.
Well, they were discussing it. They were discussing it. And I don't think that we've come to a resolution for it.
Yeah. Even his first name, I mean, I'm saying Emerald, but
Emerald, they're saying that they think that he may have said it Emerald.
Oh, Emerald.
Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure. I've always heard Emerald, like an I sound to it.
Yeah. And
I love that we have linguistics on Saturday morning.
I know. Well, as I've said before, it's always important to get people's names, pronounce their names right, because that's so tied to your identity. You
it is.
Want to value the person and call them.
I agree, Greg.
Yeah. Anyways.
I agree, Greg.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so moving on, the next profile is Maggie Ackerman. And so we're going to do something a little different. Because talking about food, did you know we have a WikiTree cookbook? We put together last year, I think you all know, because we asked for recipes here on this roundup, and some of you responded. We've got a bunch of recipes, and let me just throw this in the chat, though. If I waited 5 seconds, I know Azure would have anyways. Oh, that's the side dishes. I didn't mean to. Let's see. Let's do that without the side dishes tag. It doesn't matter, actually. That'll just take you there. There's the link to the the free space page, which is sort of the landing place for the anniversary cookbook. Azure worked long and hard putting this together. It is a wonderful job, but it was a lot of work. But WikiTreeers submitted recipes based on food that was passed down in their family or a family favorite, and they attached ancestors to each of them. So you can see it's broken down. There's main dishes, side dishes, breads, pasta, condiments, stacks, and desserts. My favorite part of every meal is dessert, of course. And there's a table of indices, gravestone recipes. That's interesting. And then recipes that are named for people. So all of those are aspects. And when you go down, you can see that they're actually all links to different PDFs. So if you go to the, which one of these is the index? No, that's side dishes. There we go. There's the index. So you can actually, if you go to the index, you can actually see how all the recipes are sorted by submitter. So Melly Alexander, our DNA chef, she submitted a recipe, so you should definitely check out her New Brunswick shrimp curry. And then you could also go and they're sorted by ancestor. So if you want to search by a certain ancestor, you can find the recipes that way, or just by recipe name itself, but also by birth decade or by birthplace. So there's lots of different ways you can, slice and dice or search for recipes. But I thought we would just sort of randomly pick a recipe attached to each person. So now, when I go to the birthplaces, now Maggie is from Australia, I believe. Yes, she's part of the Australia project. There were no recipes submitted specifically for Australia. So, Mags, can you tell me where's this list of all the recipes? Of all these recipes, which one seems the most Australian to you?
Greg, the screen is so small that I really can't see that screen. So, all of them.
All of them. Lamb stew, maybe?
No.
No. Do we have any suggestions from
molded green salad? I don't want no moldy salad.
Oh, okay. Do we have any suggestions from the chat of which of these recipes seems the most Australian?
I like the peach cobbler one.
Okay. Biscuits. Okay. Well, let's just look at the peach cobbler one then. We'll just go down to peach cobbler. And so that would be in desserts, I'm pretty sure.
Banana salad, John Piner says.
Banana salad? Okay.
We're going for the desserts, if you notice.
Yes, we're going for dessert.
Banana salad.
How about I just randomly pick? Oh, I'm just going to randomly pick drumstick. I didn't have time to queue up a different and curate the desserts or the recipes to the people. So we're just going to randomly go through the cookbook and just randomly pick places. So we're just going to put drumstick treat here submitted by WikiTree or Pat Brunson. So I'll let you enjoy that. Enjoy that recipe while I tell you a little bit about our Australian profile here. Maggie Beer is one of Australia's well-known cook, author, restaurateur, and entrepreneurs. She was married in 1970 to someone whose name has been redacted, a private living person. And they owned a successful pheasant farm restaurant and then currently own a feed store, restaurant and wine bar. She established the Maggie Beer Foundation to help older Australians in their careers to promote, prepare, and enjoy healthy and tasty food. I think that's a very worthy cause. And she's testified about aged care nutrition before the Royal Commission into the aged care. Yeah. Her entrepreneurial skills eventually turned to food manufacture, and she's manufactures a whole pile of products. And here's a list of them: pâtés and pastes, broths and stocks, and cheeses, condiments, all sorts of things. And also put out a lot of books. So on media, she's the Cook and the Chef, the Great Australian Bake Off. She's also a Master Chef of Australia. Won lots of awards. So well-known Australian chef. And there you have it. Moving on, the next one is Mary Hunnings, formerly Barry, from England. So let's pick a English. Let's see, let's go back to our England. Let's say Christmas pudding. Let's see if we can find Christmas pudding in this.
Still on the desserts, man.
Well,
let's embellish our pair.
Oh, there's Christmas pudding. Okay, well, we'll look at the Christmas. We'll move away from desserts after this, but Christmas pudding.
Is it plum pudding and hard sauce? That's what we have every Christmas.
Raisins, currants, sultanas, ground beef kidney suet put through a chopper. Doesn't that sound scrumptious?
the suet doesn't good. Yeah.
Ginger, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, almonds, molasses, plum syrup.
Yes.
There's your plums.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds a bit like it.
Sounds a bit like it. Okay, so Mary Hunnings is from England, from the English Project. She's an English food writer, chef, baker, television presenter, daughter of Elaine Williams Stuart Berry and Margaret Conway. Started at Le Cordon Bleu in France. Written many cookbooks, including the Baking Bible. Wow. You have to be pretty sure of yourself to call your book Baking Bible. In 2009. Hosted several TV series and best known as a judge on the Great British Bake Off. Named Commander of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, in 2012 for her services to culinary arts, and Dame Commander in 2021. And she was also featured on the UK version of Who Do You Think You Are? Sadly, she did lose her son in an auto accident way too early in '89. There we go. Nice profile there. Moving on, we have.
If I was to answer that question, I would have to, put a hit out on you about the hard sauce. Sorry.
Oh, the hard sauce. You can't answer that question, Dave.
Can't answer that question.
Can't answer that question. Johannes Franciscus Brockeke. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that last name. It's a Dutch last name, and I'm not sure. The KH and then the double K there kind of throws me for a loop. I would think you'd say it Brockeke. Brockeke.
Come on, Yoke.
Yoke is here. Yoke, help us out with the pronunciation of that last name. Johannes Franciscus. I'm pretty sure that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yoop. So he goes by Yoop Brockeke. Very much.
That's
also
so fun.
Yeah, drinking wine when cooking. The Galloping Gourmet did that too, didn't he? Or no?
I think so. And so did Julia Childs.
Well, I think all the best cooks probably do. Yeah.
Oh, Yoke says just use the first names.
First names are good.
The first names are good.
Yope. Oh, as in soap. Oh, interesting. I would have said Yope.
I would guess that it is because it's not. It comes from a Welsh family. That's where I go for Christmas. Where our family.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Carrying on conversations.
Was born in 41 in Apeldoorn, Gelderland, in the Netherlands. Son of Louisa and Hendrikus Brockeke. Originally wanted to become an actor, but decided to start a culinary career. And then he left for Paris and Barcelona to get experience, and then came back, got a Michelin star along with his top cook when he opened up a restaurant. So he presented a cooking program, Cookgek, on Dutch TV for 5 years, then wrote a series of cookbooks, and is a well-known TV personality. Featured in another cooking program where he and another cook went and searched for the best non-professional cook in the Netherlands. That's kind of cool. He celebrated his 50th anniversary in 2014 as a restaurant owner. Sadly, he got pancreatic cancer and passed away in 2015. Passed away in 2016. Yeah. There we have it. Next profile is from Michael Chow, or the name Zhu Yinghua, something like that.
There you go.
He was born in 1939. His mother was Catholic and gave him the first name of Michael. And his father was one of the most famous opera stars in China, which is interesting. But during the Cultural Revolution, and this is very sad, during the Cultural Revolution, his father was arrested and died in prison. His mother was smart, sent the children away to a boarding school in London so they'd be safe. But she was left behind, and she was beaten and killed in a politically motivated attack. So isn't that sad?
It is sad.
That's very sad. His sister became an actress, and he followed in the footsteps, married Grace Coddington, who became the creative director at large for Vogue magazine. So that's kind of cool. Though their marriage was short-lived, they still remain friends, which is nice. Interesting, he wanted to enter business, and Chinese people had two options at that time, very stereotypical. either a laundromat or a restaurant. He chose restaurant, and his restaurant became, Mr. Chow became quite famous. Of course, there's lots of pressure in owning a restaurant that affected his first marriage. He's been married since then, and he's been a subject of a documentary film, also known as Mr. Chow. Yeah, so sad beginning, but he did triumph in the end. So let's just pick a random, let's go into main dishes, and I'm just going to randomly pick 17. Oh, there we got a nice fan chart for this one. Tinfoil ham and cheese melts.
Oh, yes.
Look at that. And it's a quite simple one. Look at that. You just open the buns in the butter the inside, place ham and cheese in the bun, wrap in tinfoil, and bake at 350 degrees. Very cool.
There's a thing where you can put a sandwich into this little insert thing and stick it in your toaster too.
Oh.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
My kids use that all the time.
Oh, very cool. Ree Smith.
Hey, Dr. Shelley. Sorry.
Anne-Marie Ree Drummond Naismith is an American blogger, author, food writer, and television personality. She's the wife of a ranching cowboy and the mother of 4 children. The name Ree that she goes by is, of course, just half of her name, Anne-Marie. And it comes from, this is interesting, she has a handicapped sibling, and when that brother was unable to say her whole name, Marie, he just settled calling her Ree, and then everyone else adopted that.
Fun.
So that's kind of interesting, eh? Heartwarming. She calls herself the pioneer woman because she moved from being a city slicker to becoming the wife of a rancher, and she married her cowboy in 1996. Doesn't give him a name, just calls him her cowboy.
And how did they meet? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Is it a Green Acres sort of thing? You know?
I don't know. Yeah. Green Acres is the place for me.
She started blogging after her 4th child was born, or was around, no, not when she was, after the 4th child was 2 or 3 years old in 2006 and 7. And so, what's this blogging all about? And so she went from there, and then she added pictures to her recipes, and then has become famous ever since. And there's links to the blog and Food Network and other things where she's known as. So very cool. Let's randomly pick another recipe from our list here. Let's go up to, say, chicken and dumplings. Ancestor Bill Dale, submitted by WikiTree or Pam Freely. The little fan chart there showing the connection. And so I think the recipe must be, oh, there's the recipe itself right there. 1 whole chicken, 3 to 4 chicken bouillon cubes, 2 cans of Pillsbury flaky layer honey biscuits. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Biscuits, 2 cans of cream cheese, chicken soup, some milk to rinse the cans out, and then some spices. That sounds like a cool one. Paul Hollywood, 26th cousin. Okay. An English celebrity chef and television presenter, best known as a judge on the Great British Bake Off. Born in Cheshire, England, son of bakery proprietor John F. Hollywood. He studied sculpture for a time and then began his baking career in his father's business when he was a teenager. Served as head baker, working at 5-star hotels in Cyprus. Interesting. Of course, found his fame as a judge on the BBC show Great British Bake Off, and appearing since it began in 2010. And he's got other shows, lots of stuff. Also was a guest on Who Do You Think You Are? There we are. And his bibliography has a bunch of links there, and so on. So there we go. Have you heard of Paul? It's funny, I don't know why I haven't heard of many of these people. Have you seen Paul Hollywood before?
You know, I may have scanned past the Great British Baking Show occasionally, may have scanned past it. And I may have seen him on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's pick one more main.
Is Hollywood his real name? Sorry, did I miss that?
Yeah, that's a good question. His father's name is Hollywood. If I go to his tree app, go to the fan chart. Let's just see what gets produced here. Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood.
That's
Hollywood from
craziness.
back in Lancashire. Like, it's not even California based. It's before California was even a thing.
That would be a fun name to chase down the etymology of.
Yeah. Now, there's definitely a place in England called Holywood with only one L, right?
I think
I've heard
so,
that
yes.
before. Do you think it's related then? Do you think
I don't know. And then there's Holyrood. Holyrood, I've heard.
Oh, Holyrood. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is interesting. Because of course I always
things that make you go,
things that make you go, okay. Also, looking at the time makes me go,
John Tyner says there's a Hollywood here in Ireland as well.
Interesting, like a place. Place. Cool.
And he's heard of the guy. So
he's heard of, oh, good. Well, presumably lots of people have heard of them. It's just because my TV viewing and we don't watch a lot of reality TV at all, or cooking shows or things like that. So despite the fact that I like eating, we prefer different type of fiction on TV. Maddie Matheson is
calling it pairing. We like to pair.
Yeah, that's right. Maddie Matheson is a Canadian chef, a restaurateur, actor, and internet personality. And now I do know this guy, not as a chef. I didn't realize he was an actual chef, but I know him because we just finished binge watching the show called The Bear. Have you watched The Bear?
No.
It's very good. So it's all about.
I have seen it though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the main character inherits a restaurant in Chicago from his brother, and he has to, sort of get it to revive it. And there's a lot of drama. It's very interesting. But this character here, there's his IMDb page, a bigger picture of him there. So that's a picture of him from the show. He appears as sort of this handyman, sort of friend of the family, who's kind of goofy, and often they rely on him to help them out when it comes to things like plumbing or whatever. And sometimes he messes up and whatnot. But he's just an interesting character on the show. But the cool thing is, the show is all based around restaurants, and he himself is a chef, an actual chef, not just an actor. So that's kind of a neat twist. Yeah. So let's see. Let's just randomly pick another recipe. Let's go into the side dishes and see what they look like. I think I have side dishes open. Nope, that's not. I had side dishes open somewhere here. There's side dishes. And we're just going to randomly pick from submitted by Margaret Summit, a cabbage salad. There we go. 2 eggs, some cream, salt and vinegar, butter, and half a head of cabbage. Pretty straightforward.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like cabbage.
Martha Stewart. Now, I have her ancestor tree opened here because Stewart, of course, is her married name, because her actual birth name is Kostira. Her father and grandfather, Joseph Kostira, came from Austria. Kukar from Poland. She has Polish roots there. Lots of Polish. And so that's interesting. With a name like Martha Stewart, I didn't expect that variety at all, because of course, unless you know the details about a famous person, you don't know their background, especially if she's going by.
You don't know the details of Martha Stewart? Do you realize she's a convicted felon?
That I did know. I know she went to prison.
Okay.
That I knew. Yeah. So American businesswoman, intelligent personality. She has a big brand and everything. Gardening, homesteading, homemaking. Doesn't say anything about going to prison in her biography here, though.
I like that she is out of the box. Like
Yes.
she is really good friends with the rapper. Oh my gosh, and I'm completely blank. She like has a blog or a video cast with him.
Drake?
Snoop Dogg. Snoop
What?
Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
She and Snoop Dogg. Yes. She's out of the
Wow.
box. She is not in a box. That's one thing for sure.
That's hilarious. Wow. That's neat. Well, good for her. Good for her.
Well, good for her.
Good for her. Let's switch to cavatelli. Oh, and that recipe is so large it takes 2 pages. This looks good. Submitted by Isabel Caruso. Oh, nice pasta. Look at that. Oh, it takes some semolina green, hot water, some olive oil, a little salt, mixed together on the board there, and then you add some sauce to it. Look at that. That looks tasty, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, moving on. We just have 2 more left. Danny Trejo. Okay, as a very short bio, he's an American actor. And I really that seems he was the result of an extramarital affair. You want to start your WikiTree profile with that? Dolores' husband.
I don't think he started it with that. No.
No, he wouldn't have started it, but I don't know. I would try and be a little, I don't know, a little more gentle. But anyways, this gives no hint as to why he's in this category. But if we go back to the front page here, apparently he's owns Trejo's Tacos and Trejo's Cantina. So, but he's a famous celebrity and actor. You recognize him for lots of things. I think Old Country for No Men he was in. We opened up his IMDb. You'll see he's done lots of stuff. And then the last, Molly Ye. I'm not sure how. Yeah, is it Ye or Yeah? How you pronounce her last name? Ye.
I mean, I've heard it. Yay.
Have you heard it? Okay. She's from the.
But I've never heard her say it. So
you never heard it, but you've heard other people talk about her. Okay. She's from the Magnolia Network, host of Girl Meets Farm. She's a food blogger. My name is Ye, cookbook author and accomplished concert marimbist. So another chef plus musician. So that's kind of cool. Nice combo there. And there we go. And so that's all the profiles of the week. Check out the anniversary cookbook, folks, because there's lots of other recipes we haven't, of course, profiled here, but lots of neat things there. So check that out.
Yeah, it's only 11:55. No, I'm just kidding. 11:13.
Hopefully, it's not quite that.
There is another chat happening after us. Are you done, Greg?
I'm done. I'm done. Okay. And somewhere here I'm done. I was somewhere. I think I had the oops, now I've lost everything.
Well, that's a pretty background.
Yeah. Well, I had opened up the.
Is that an Italian orchard?
No. Oh, I think it is. It's the background to the latest operating system. So it's a valley.
An Apple thing.
It's an Apple thing. It's an Apple. It's a wine valley in California.
Napa.
But I was going to open up the what's happening around WikiTree for you.
Yay! Thank you very much.
No problem.
We got lots of stuff happening in WikiTree this coming month. Let me see if I can make this bigger on my screen. No. There we go. Friday date night. We just had that last night. And let's see. We got the weekend chat going on right now, this second. Saturday sourcing sprints coming up. Question of the week. Keep an eye out for that. And 52 ancestors. Thank you so much, Amy Johnson-Crow, for creating that and getting everybody involved in that. The Data Doctors Challenge is April 22nd to the 29th. Connection Combat, April 24th to May 1st. I don't know who that is, but check that out as well. The weekend chat, again, us. And there's lots of more stuff that usually goes on WikiTree. Unfortunately, I am out in the boonies and I can't share all of that information. But look at who is the WikiTree Challenge. My friend and colleague, Leanne Kruger. And there's a chat going on at 12 o'clock with her. I don't know if I'll be able to get into that, but I will be watching it after the fact. If you want to share your information, we've got a cemetery spotlight in our social media posts from Azure, who does a great job. This week for the cemetery, it's Nimityville Pioneer Cemetery. Woo! And then the question of the week, we don't know. Oh, what's a funny anecdote you've found in your research? Woo! Global Spotlight is, we don't know who that is yet.
No, we don't.
One Name Tuesday is Trent. We've got the Connection Combat. This One Place Study is Lawrenceville, Virginia. Thank you for not being a hard thing to pronounce. And
yes.
The One Place Studies, I can't read it. Is there a...
it doesn't say a place.
Okay.
They haven't told us.
And the Hollywood Walk of Fame is the Spotlight coming up.
Oh, neat.
And then our Meet Our Members is Watkins 7379. So there's a lot of stuff coming up, and then we'll be back again next Saturday. Same bat channel, same bat time for those of you who watched Batman back in the day. And I will be back from the boonies. I love your sweatshirt, your hoodie.
I know.
Zippy.
I was just thinking it was there's the logo. Enjoy genealogy.
Is it cotton or neoprene or? You don't know.
Can you read
we got it. No, we can't. Do that. Thank you very much.
Read the label.
We will see you next week, same time, same place. You're driving, Greg, so you need to get us out of here.
So I have to say goodbye.
Yeah,
okay.
bye. Good luck, Leanne.
Bye, everyone.